After about a month, I'm back in the studio talking to you guys. Um, by the way, I'm gonna let everybody get in here before I give y'all some up there, some free news. I'm gonna give y'all a thing that y'all can get before everybody else get it. Um, what's up, Jacqueline? Jacqueline. I don't know. Like some people say, call me Jacqueline. Some people say Jacqueline. Um, I bet you people call you Jackie though. Good morning, Carmelita. Some people asked me yesterday if my sister still wear culottes. Carmelita said go. Sean said go to hell. Carmelita said no. Just in case y'all wanted to know. So there's your answer. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, that's actually related to the thing that we're talking about. Um, I did this story. Depending on which social media you follow me on, you'll see this. Sometimes you don't see it. But I did a story about how my sisters, we grew up, we couldn't wear, they couldn't wear. I couldn't either get technically wear pants. Well, I could wear pants. They had to wear skirts. And yeah, my sisters wore those long jean shirts where people you know in high school. They didn't wear prayer cloths though. My mama's credit. Commonly say I'm crazy, not y'all. They crazy too. They just don't tell nobody. Like literally all of these stories, first of all, they don't you if you ever notice, they never deny these stories because they're true. They just don't like me telling them. But the story goes, and by the way, let me start with tell some about storytelling, right? People wonder if these stories are true. And I always tell people it's not really. These stories aren't really about like crazy things. Storytelling is about how you tell the story. And people think the stories are crazy just because of how they're told, but they're just like regular things that you find interesting because of the way somebody tells them. So anyway, when we were growing up, Kamala, Deshaun, Robin, they couldn't wear pants. And Carmelita and Robin didn't care though, because they heathens. I mean, let's be honest, right? They heathens. They did stuff all the time that was against our biblical teachings. We used to have Bible study every day. We had to do stuff like we learned crazy stuff. Like we had to learn the phases of the moon. I don't know why my mama taught us that, but we had to learn the phases of the moon. Um, like all the Jewish months of the year. We had to learn those along with where the months that we call them, where they got the name, uh, like where who the Greek gods were, stuff like that. Anyway, they couldn't wear pants, and so because of a pretty tragic incident where Sean gave away, passed out the number for this lady who lived down the street from us, named Miss Jessie Ham. Sean had a crime ring. My older sister had a crime ring going where she was passing out the number to this lady. And when you call the lady, and I would do the same thing right now but the lady would just start cussing because again, this is before caller ID. She just had people calling her all the time, listening to her curse. So she cussed because the people called and the people called because they cuss. So, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, anyway, Sean had this ring where she was selling Miss Jessie Ham numbers so kids could hear Miss Jessie Ham cuss. Police came and got her. She got in trouble at school. And so she had to go to a Christian school, all white. Sean was the only white person at her school, a private school. They didn't kick her out of school. My mom would just say, you're not going to be around people running a crime ring. And so Sean went to a Christian school, and of course she couldn't wear pants, but Sean was real athletic. Like when I say athletic, she wasn't athletic for a girl. Sean was like the strongest. Sean was fast. She was athletic. And so she made all the sports team. The only thing was you gotta wear the uniform. Sean don't wear pants. So we said we was gonna talk to mama and see, y'all know about Harriet Court. Have a Harriet Court case and convince mama to wear that Sean could wear the shorts. But did I just in my research, because I was preparing the case, of course, I was the best lawyer. I know comedy to go say Robin was, because I was really disappointed when she said that when they interviewed her. Um, but Carmelita knows that I was the best lawyer in Harriet law firm. And so I was preparing the case for Sean. And while I was preparing the case, I discovered culottes. If y'all don't know what culottes are basically like, it's a skirt, but it's also shorts, but it's also, like capris. And it's also like a yoga pants. It's like a sweat skirt. And so when I discovered culottes, I was like, Sean, this is the answer. So we prepared a whole presentation, cut pictures out of my mom used to take us to the store and get these big old sewing books, which, my mom used to sew all our clothes. Um, and so we was preparing the culotte case. And Carmelita just ran and tell my mama, first of all, she thought I was saying cool-offs. So she told me, Mom, can Sean wear cool-offs? Mom was like, what the hell is cool-offs? And so anyway, Carmelita ruined the case. But my mom was like, yeah, I don't care. Yeah. So Sean got to play sports in culottes. And that really broke the whole skirt tradition, right? Because like within a few years, Carmelita those, and it was bad for Sean because like by then Sean had graduated. Carmelita those, like their junior and senior year, they were wearing pants to school. Sean went through a whole high school career wearing skirts, wearing them jean skirts and culottes sometimes. Sometimes I don't think Sean had really had a game. She just wanted to wear them culottes. But anyway, Sean played sports. Then Carmelita them, they went and inherited the culotte game, and they got to wear pants to school, even though they were wearing pants anyway. They had pants in the locker room. Like they literally was not supposed to be wearing pants. And if you look in their yearbooks, they got on pants. I don't know how my mom didn't pay attention to the yearbook probably, but like they were running a scam the whole time. And so sometimes what the story, tells us that sometimes like you be thinking like I can't do something. You don't know just because you didn't ask. 'Cause as soon as we asked my mom was like, all right, it wasn't even a big thing to her. It was just a big thing to us because we focused on it all the time. And anyway, so when I was writing my book, Black AF History, I had this idea, like, what if you could buy a version of the book, like a special edition, but only at Black bookstores? And, you know, I knew it was going to be a paperback edition, right? So this is how paperbacks work. So when you write a book, the paperback doesn't come out until a year later at minimum, right? And that's only because what they try to do is, besides give people a cheaper version, what they try to do is they say, well, okay, we'd already made the money off the book. Now we can sell the cheaper version. But it also reboosts sales. Like if your book came out a year ago, then the paper comes out, you can kind of remarket the book, send them on a book tour, go to bookstores and promote the book because it's kind of a new version. So I was like, well, what if the paperback could only be available at Black bookstores, which I know is crazy because like most people buy their books off Amazon. And I know like they're not going to give up them Amazon sales just to help Black bookstores. But shit, I was like, I'm going to ask because when I told them that I was only going to do my book tour at Black and independent bookstores, it was like, I was like, whatever city I go to, the first choice is going to be a Black bookstore. And if there's not a Black bookstore in the city, then it's going to be an independently owned bookstore. Y'all, this book came out 3 years ago. I've never done a book signing at like a Barnes and Nobles or a big chain bookstores. They've all been Black owned or independent. When I did the book signing in like Atlanta, it was a Black owned bookstore, right? It was at a bigger space because, like, we couldn't fit all those people into somebody's bookstore, but the black-owned bookstore supply the books, right? When you go in no matter where you see an artist at, the bookstore is selling the book, a local bookstore is selling the book. Like, I can't literally I signed the contract, all authors signed the contract where, like, I can't sell my book because that would undercut bookstores, right? Like, why would you let the author sell his book? Because that would undercut bookstores. Well, anyway, I said, "Imma ask because I learned from Culottes that you can just ask sometime, and you never know what they'll say." And so I asked, and they was like, "Yeah." So, on April 25th, which is Independent Bookstore Day, only in Black and independent bookstores, you can get a special edition of Black AF History with an extra chapter. Like, you can it's not available anywhere else. You gotta go into a store to get it. Yeah, Narissa, I did my book signing at, what's the bookstore? It's small, but I've been to that bookstore in Oakland. That's where I did my book stop in Oakland, at that black-owned bookstore. And it was crowded in there too because we did it in the bookstore there. So if you they'll definitely have it, because, again, it's gotta be a Black or independent bookstore, and you can go into it, you get the paperback version. It's got a new chapter. Um, I kinda don't like how they laid out the new chapter because it's a new chapter, but it's at the beginning of the book. I wish they would have put it at the end of the book, but, you know, that might be my fault because they might have sent it to me, and I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." But, yeah, so Black AF History, April 25th in your local independent or Black-owned bookstore, if you have one in your city. I lived in Birmingham, and I Birmingham doesn't have a Black-owned bookstore anymore, which shocked me, but go to a Black or independently owned bookstore and get this updated copy of Black AF History, the unwhitewashed story of America. Jennifer V asked if I ever come to Richmond. I was just in Richmond a few months ago, for the book festival there. So what's the bookstore there? Resist Books, I think, is the bookstore there, the Black-owned bookstore. Um, I was there, gave a whole talk, um, stayed a few days. So, yeah, I've been to Richmond. I hadn't been to, Kanita. I hadn't been to North Carolina yet. Hopefully, Imma get there soon, maybe Charlotte. I need to get there because, Charlotte, like, I grew up not too far from Charlotte. It was, Charlotte is the place where, everybody who lives in a small town has a big town near them that everybody moves to get the hell out of town when they grow up, and Charlotte is the town where everybody in my high school that left my hometown went to. Yeah, I might come to the Triangle. I've been to Durham, Raleigh, and Durham. I actually went to Raleigh or Durham, I can't remember, to the, uh, Hate Hayti Center, and I did a book signing there, and that's how actually I learned about Hayti, the Hayti district. Some Black and independently owned bookstores will let you order it on bookshop.org. If y'all don't know what bookshop.org is, here's some more free game. Instead of buying a book on Amazon, bookshop.org, you can get your book. And what you do is it has a pull down tab. So when you buy it on bookshop.org, it's a collective of Black and independently owned bookstores. So they have a tab where you can pull down and choose like the nearest Black owned bookstore to you. So, and here's the thing, they ship by Amazon. Like when you get your book from bookshop.org, it's Amazon shipping it. So you're really literally buying the same thing, but you'll get a Black owned bookstore or independently owned bookstore is getting the money. Look, I can't mention all y'all cities, but Cerebella, there should be one in Chicago. I should be in Chicago soon though. I hadn't been to Detroit yet. So yeah, Uncle Bobby's definitely has it win, man. By the way, Uncle Bobby's Tiffany Cross, our I think she gave her special self a name. Uh, Her special title is Contraband Camp Senior Correspondent. But she'll be there on May 6th at Uncle Bobby's with Mark Lamont Hill to buy the bookstores. In Albert Walker, again, ain't no link. You just got to go into the bookstore. Bookshop.org, if you're asking about that, that's the place where you can shop at Black and independently owned bookstores. So yeah, happy Friday. Another week has passed, another crazy week. I guess we're not at war anymore, although we might be still at war. I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. But we have an article coming out today about all of the people who say that this is not what they voted for when they voted for Trump, but they say this is not what they voted for. This is what they voted for. Like if you put a crazy person in charge of everything, then you voted for it, right? You can't act like you didn't know that this could happen when you elected a crazy person, right? Like when I was a kid, I used to when I was like, I think it was when I would turn 8, my dad bought me a bicycle, the Evil Knievel bicycle, for my birthday. And of course, the first thing you're gonna do with an evil, like you can't buy a kid an Evil Knievel bicycle and not expect them to build a ramp. So of course I built the ramp. And of course I bust my ass, right? Like broke myself trying to jump over we used to have those, the trash cans that the city gives you. I tried to I mean the whole neighborhood was there to watch me jump over that trash can. I was thinking about this last night because my cousin, he had a bike too, Tyron. And Tyron asked me, well, like, why your bike so special? Just because it's an Evil Knievel. I was like, you don't know, but you could pedal faster with an Evil Knievel bike. Man, the whole neighborhood gathered around to watch me jump that trash can. Tammy and Lynn and Jamaica and Angelina and Lorenzo, the whole street, man, gathered around. And man, I bust my ass so bad, knocked myself out. But my point is, that's what sometimes, like, if you think the reason that shit was exciting, the reason all of those people were around there, because I might fall. So I can't say, oh man, this is not what I voted for when I was trying to jump that trash can. I didn't vote to fall. You knew it was a possibility. That's why everybody is there, because it's dangerous. Hell no, Bembe. I didn't clear those trash cans. I mean, that bike landed on top of me. I broke myself up. My mama took me to the hospital. I really, I don't even know if my sisters ever had to go to the emergency room. I got all of our emergency room visits. I broke my hand, my wrist. I broke everything. I had stitches for falling out of a tree. My leg, a spike actually went all the way through my leg, and they had to pull my leg off the spike. I had all the injuries growing up. I was, you know what? Now that I think about it, my sister might be right. Maybe I was the crazy one. Maybe I got all of their crazy because they didn't do shit like that. But yeah, so maybe I was the crazy one. Because I had all the crazy ideas, and I would get in trouble for them, right? One time my grandfather, he built, it's still back there actually. He built a barbecue pit out of bricks. So we have the actual, like, a brick barbecue pit in our backyard that my grandfather built before I was even born. had the grate and everything, and it was good because that thing retained heat. You know, bricks hold heat when you light those charcoals, and so there was a standing barbecue pit in our backyard. So I used to, barbecue for my sisters. Um, I've cooked, um, I've cooked Pop-Tarts on the grill, for real. I've cooked Pop-Tarts on the grill, um, for my sisters. When I was in college, I think there's a story about this somewhere I read, but my sister Robin, so Robin and I went to Auburn together. I went when I graduated, and she graduated 2 years after me, and she came, and we were roommates. And we could never come home because Auburn doesn't have like a Greyhound bus station or a train station. So we had to wait till somebody come pick us up. So we never went home for stuff like spring break or Thanksgiving break. So one year during spring break, um, Robin and I had a bologna barbecue. And so many people came to that bologna barbecue, man. I mean, like everybody who couldn't go home during spring break came to our bologna barbecue. And people bought their own bologna. They even bought hot dogs and hamburgers, but we started out with bologna, like that's all we had. And it became a tradition. The bologna barbecue kept going. They still have the bologna barbecue every year during like people who can't go home during spring break. They still have that bologna barbecue. But yeah, again, I've cooked all kinds of things on the grill, right? And like because my family used to have a restaurant on the restaurant. So when I went to college, like we get like the industrial size bag of I remember one year, the first year Robin came, we had an industrial size bag of uh, chicken fingers, chicken tenders, already breaded. You know, the ones they serve at every restaurant. For one year, I ate so many chicken tenders. Oh my God. I had chicken tenders all year. And it wasn't fair because I was the boy. So, like, I was expected to take care of everything. And so, Robin, my mom paid for Robin. Robin had a meal plan and everything. I just had to fend for myself. Sometimes Robin would buy me stuff on her meal plan, but we shared an apartment. We lived off campus. And she had a whole meal plan on campus. Me, got to work at Arby's. I had to work at Arby's at the mall. So, again, but anyway, that article is coming out later today. Janetta is probably editing it now. Um, what else happened this week? Oh, I don't know if y'all saw this, right? Did y'all see like this weird thing that happened yesterday with Melania? Just out of nowhere, had a press conference and says, "Hey, I wasn't trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein." Like, did y'all think Melania was trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein? She, there's got to be like my theory is that there's a big story coming out that's going to say, probably New York Times, although it may be the Washington Post, that says Melania was trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein. Maybe the Wall Street Journal, but I'm putting my money on the the New York Times first. I'll put the Wall Street Journal second, and then the Post. Um. So again, uh, weird shit is happening. Weird shit is happening. Um, but again, we're gonna survive. I mean, America's not gonna survive. America is over. And that's the important thing I think we should talk about this kind of this regime and all these people who are saying, well, that's not what I voted for. They're distancing themselves from Trump because they know that we're in a fascist government and they don't want to be held accountable. Nah, we're gonna remember, bro. We're gonna remember Chile. We're gonna remember Chile. Chile did that shit. Chile voted for Trump, sent him money, man. Like What's crazy is that Chile sent him money and voted for him in the primary, but not in the general election. Right? That's crazy. That's crazy, man, because voting for somebody, right, is wild enough. Voting for Trump is wild enough. But sending him money, like, like, I don't think you got enough money, Mr. Billionaire, to do the anti-black things that you wanna do. Let me send you a few of my dollars that I got from black people to help you harm black people. That's crazy. That's crazy. And again, to me, this is not Chili being canceled. She's not being canceled because, again, you know my theory that nobody has ever been canceled. Nobody. Again, I'm ready for some names if y'all got some, but nobody has ever been canceled. People just say, I don't fuck with you no more. And it's cool to say I don't fuck with you no more. I don't fuck with Evil Knievel bikes and ramps no more. Because they let me down. Literally let me down. Well, not let me down, but they had me on the ground. They had me crash out. And I didn't cancel Evil Knievel bikes. My sister Carmelita didn't cancel Culottes. She just didn't fuck with him. When she realized that she could wear pants, she didn't fuck with them Culottes. I didn't cancel Evil Knievel bikes, and we didn't cancel Chili. We just can say, look, I am not giving you any more of my money because they were about to go on tour. I'm not giving you my money so you can give Trump my money. That's like giving your money to the dope man so he can re-up on his crack supply. I'm going to help you out, Mr. Dope Man, so you can spread poison through my neighborhood. Nah, we're not canceling Chili. I think some people still going to fuck with her. I don't know why, right? Because, if we being honest, right, TLC was really Left Eye and T-Boz. I forgot Chili was in. Like, if Left Eye hadn't died so tragically, they could just replace Chili. You could find you another Chili. But see now, like, as long as T-Boz was there, right? But you down that Left Eye is gone, you really can't have 2 out of 3 replacements. But ain't nobody sweating Chili. And she could have just not done anything. She could have just voted for Trump and be MAGA and not say anything. She on Instagram liking the stuff that Donald Trump say and following Melania and sending him money. And then we the dumb ones. They think we the dumb ones, right? They don't know that we can track anybody's campaign donations. They just send them money because they think we dumb, man. They think we dumb enough to give them our money and let them harm us. They think we dumb. She voted for Trump with and sent him money, the money I actually bought a TLC CD before. So that some of that, like, you know, at least about 17 cents of that was mine. I want my 17 cents back. I can't say that I was going to cancel her because besides that CD, I don't think I've bought or supported them monetarily. I wasn't going to the tour. So I can't say that I canceled her. Right? Just like Omar is putting up Open Secrets. Yeah, I use Open Secrets. There used to be a bunch of sites, but they've consolidated. The FEC files are still good to look at. But you can go to Open Secrets and see who anybody donated to. And you can choose any politician and see who they get money from, right? And it's wild because they'll show like you can look up a company and they'll show like the most evil companies, they don't donate equal, right? As wild as like regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, when you look at the financing of campaigns, it's like the Democrats get money from people who like their policies. The Republicans get money to buy people, to buy politicians so that they won't get prosecuted or that they won't pass legislation. Like the oil industry funds Republicans not because like they like Republicans. It's so the Republicans won't stop them from like drilling in our backyard or passing pollution regulations. Um, so that's another thing that's going on this week. Chile is apparently MAGA. Um, and I know you've seen the stuff about Trick Daddy, which again, I there will be no Trick Daddy slander here. I ain't even a huge Trick Daddy fan. I mean, he cool, right? Some of my boys are from South Florida, so but the thing about the whole Trick Daddy thing is all Trick Daddy did was be Trick Daddy. Again, when the AKAs hired him, that's what they voted for. Like, you can't hire Trick Daddy and then be mad because he acted like Trick Daddy. And I ain't mad at the AKAs because they shut him down when I mean, they thought, first of all, they said that they gave him a playlist. They gave somebody a playlist. You know, Trick Daddy ain't doing no pre-meetings, no consultations with nobody. Trick Daddy representatives was there. And when Trick Daddy representatives probably took that list of approved songs to Trick Daddy said, fuck, man, they probably don't even talk to Trick Daddy. Trick Daddy probably just asked if the check cleared. But again, I don't even blame the AKAs either. Because so if you're in an organization, uh, especially these Greek letter organizations, besides the national conference, they have these regional conferences. And you got to think about this. This is the thing that most people don't think about, right? So every organization has seniority. People with seniority usually run it. Well, when it comes to, these Black Greek letter organizations, most of the people join them in college or, sometimes they do grad chap, but most of them do enter in college. And so your seniority is gained, the older you get. So the people who organized that Trick Daddy thing, they probably, first of all, probably didn't know who Trick Daddy was. And if they did, right, they probably never had done this before. But it was probably some old people. Because when you go to these regional conferences, especially the regional ones and the national ones, like I'm an Omega, most of the people there are going to be the old Qs. And to be fair, I'm the old Qs, right? I've been in my fraternity, god damn, 33 years. Like, I was thinking about it, I pledged my sophomore year, but I went to college early, so I've literally been a Q my entire adult life. So I'm the old Qs to somebody who pledges now, but I mean, even I would know not to hire Trick Daddy. But I mean, really, when you think about it, everything worked out. Right. Trick Daddy got his money. He performed a little bit. And when he got too raunchy, the AKA stopped him. They took the risk. They didn't break their wrist like me, but, they fell off the bike. They didn't make the jump, but at least they didn't break anything. The only thing that was bad about it was people was joking about it on the internet. I don't even think it was a controversy. It was just something funny that happened to me because the sight of a 70-year-old AKA listening to Trick Daddy and wondering what the hell is wild. That's funny. That's funny, right? You know, I don't know if it would have happened at a because like it wouldn't have happened at the Q shit because like we very cognizant of our image, and y'all know we wild anyway. So the bros probably wouldn't have walked out, but they probably would have shut Trick Daddy down too, but they wouldn't have. But see, the bros would have fought Trick Daddy. That's the thing. Like it would have been 4 bros that you had to hold back because they would have been like, "Nah, man, I'm gonna dump this dude on his head because he disrespecting us." So that was the only difference, right? Like you either hire Trick Daddy. If you hire him, you take the risk of this happening because Trick Daddy is who you voted for. He gave y'all the full Trick Daddy, just like Trump is giving them the full Donald Trump. It's wild. It's wild. It's again, it's crazy shit going on. Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying that she ain't down with Trump anymore because he don't act like a Christian. This nigga said 2 Corinthians. Like you just now realizing that Trump is not a Christian. Again, it's back to the Culottes, right? Everybody gets to make their own definition of Christianity, of what being religious and what being faithful is. Sometimes you really willing to overlook shit. Sometimes you will let your daughters wear culottes. Sometimes you won't. But you don't get to create your own definition and then say, "Oh, I'm surprised this culotte wearing nigga is not following the tenets of the faith that I believe in." You don't get to act retroactively. Don't be surprised when the dude who acts like Satan. This dude paid a porn star to sleep with her, and you knew that 2 elections ago. This dude is a convicted felon. This dude said, "Hey man, I could walk down the street and shoot somebody in the face." So you can't be mad when I shoot somebody in the face and act like, "Oh, this is too much. This administration is crazy." He said he was gonna shoot people in the face. You're getting what you voted for, right? He told y'all he ain't wearing no culottes. He wearing booty shorts. He a heathen, like my sister Carmelita. No, Carmelita, you ain't like Trump now. But what they're trying to do is launder their image because they know, like we're gonna look back at this time and see who supported this demon, and they don't want that name to be associated with them. Now that they can see clearly the thing that we've seen all the time. Just like if I would have listened to my mama when she told me, "Hey, don't build no ramp," right? They should have listened to the 92% of black women. They should have listened to us. We told them, right? You can say I'm sorry, but you can't say this ain't what I voted for when we told y'all what y'all were voting for. You can act like you surprised prices are high when this nigga talked about tariffs the whole time. You can act like you're surprised that the economy is crashing. This nigga is bankrupt 6 times. He bankrupted 6 billion, 6 businesses, and he a billionaire. This what you voted for. Don't act like that, right? Like you ain't don't come in my face with that. Like again, most people who voted for Trump, everybody who votes really votes for a thing that they want for. Now, it just turns out like A lot of when we talk about people who vote against their self-interest, against their own interests, we always talk about white people, like them poor white people who vote against their own self-interest, right? But in many ways, black people, I vote against my own self-interest. Like, I would be helped by like not taxing the rich and lower taxes and giving all these tax loopholes. But I vote against my own self-interest for the interest of my collective community, black people. And a lot of us do, right? A lot of us will never, most 99% of black people will never get arrested during the traffic stop. But we want police reform for the people who will. Like most of us will never be on welfare, but we want a social safety net for the people who need it, right? Like, I don't know why that's so hard for others to understand, but in the same way, those people, those white people who voted for Trump against their own interests, they were voting for their people too. They were a lot of them were voting for white people. They like, you know what? I mean, I have enough money. I went to college, but I want to keep black people out of college. I want to roll back DEI and civil rights advances. I want to make it harder to vote. They're voting for white people too. But I don't know if it's voting against their own interests, right? Because their interest is whiteness, just like my interest is black people. The collective betterment of my community is my interest. And in the same way, white supremacy is one of their interests. I mean, we can call them economically anxious if we want to, but if they were that anxious, they wouldn't have voted for Trump. You won't vote for a man who bankrupted 6 businesses, who was born rich, never achieved anything on the business level, and think he's going to create a healthy economy. If you are concerned with you and your children and your community's health, you don't vote for a man who's going to put a dude with a worm in his brain in charge of the FDA. If you are interested in economic or political advancement, you don't vote for a dude who denied an election, who tried to destroy an election. Like you can't be interested in democracy. So fascism is in their interest. They voted for this. And now they trying to, roll it back. Nah, this what you wanted. This what you wanted, right? My mama stood over me on that bicycle and said, "Look, must be what you want. Don't cry now. Nah, you wanted to jump. Sometimes you fall. You can't act like when you built this ramp, you didn't know that gravity exists. Just like they can't act like they didn't know that war exists or that Iran had nuclear weapons, as if Trump didn't literally tear up the Iran nuclear weapons agreement in 2018. And they voted for him 2 more times. This what you voted for, the war. We knew they had nuclear weapons. We had a whole agreement. The whole international community came and said, you know what, man? If we don't stop these motherfuckers, they're going to get a nuclear weapon and they're going to be terrorizing us. And y'all voted for the only idiot who says, let's tear up a piece of paper that brought a whole section of the world a measure of stability and peace. Y'all voted for this war. Y'all voted for our kids to die. I got a nephew over there. Y'all voted for this. Let them fuck up my nephew if you want to. Right? I'm gonna go over there with like 2 pistols and a sword. But the thing is, nobody ever thought that like Iran was the good guys. Nobody ever thought that, like, you know what, we should just open the borders to let anybody come in. We want comprehensive immigration reform too. Y'all just want to drag people out of the country without due process because whiteness is in their interest. Now, we know that a lot of people will argue that, well, those immigrants don't have anything to do with me. Listen, son, there is nothing in the history of America that they haven't done to somebody that they won't do to black people. They didn't do to black people. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Right? Remember, we talk about the Asian American internment camps. Well, they did that to black people too. Like those black anti-war protesters, they locked them up. Now they just put them in a bunch of different prisons. But there is nothing that they will do to Hispanic people, to brown people, to Muslim people that they will not do to black people. They are using the tactics that they learned on black people to persecute these people. So stopping this Gestapo tactics, this lack of due process is in our interest. Who y'all think next? You see that all of these college campuses, there's another story that came out this week at the University of Missouri is defunding like all of its black organizations. And we saw it coming. We told y'all. Again, as a member of Omega Psi Phi, 3 years ago, they told us in Alabama that, hey, y'all can't have race-based scholarships anymore. So all of those things they're going to be doing to everybody. They're testing it out on them, but it's coming to us. It's coming to us. You see, they're stripping the military of black and brown leadership. Now they'll let us go fight on the front lines. The leadership, they got to be white people. And they voted for this. And the people who say they didn't, this is not what we voted for. They just want, one, they trying to ameliorate themselves of any responsibility for the things that this country is doing. Donald Trump can't just walk into the White House. There's another report, a survey that came out, some data that came out a week ago. And it says, like, if you, and this is often the case, right? If you go and if you just conducted a survey right now, or if you look at the polls right now, right, they'll ask a question like, what do you think about the economy? Or what do you think about politics? And then they'll have Republicans, and then they'll ask, there's a certain number of Democrats that you'll see in the data, right? Because they'll ask you what you are after they ask you the question. Then they'll say, are you black? Are you white? And they'll ask you also who you voted for. Did you vote for Biden? Or did you vote for Trump? But what they're seeing is the category of Trump voters is shrinking. In other words, the people who are willing to say they voted for Trump is smaller than the number of people who actually voted for Trump, and it's shrinking. So people are slowly beginning to disavow even voting for Trump. That's my mama right there calling. Um, Disavow even voting for Trump. They're trying to pretend like they didn't vote for Trump. Nah, keep that same energy, bro. We're not finna let all this shit that y'all did to us slide. We gonna remember. Keep that same energy. They're denying that they're voting for Trump. Yeah, Omar, it's 600,000 now, bro. Um, and we got to remember too, because the worst thing that could happen, in my opinion, is that we go through all of this period and let it only halfway burn down. And then we forget and act like nothing ever happened. That's what we did after the Civil War. That's what we did after the Civil Rights Movement. In fact, right, just like those people saying, I didn't vote for Trump. Like, why you don't never find any segregationists now? We never hear any old white people say, I was a staunch segregationist. And then, like, my mama, a lot of your mamas and grandmothers that are still alive, they lived under Jim Crow. But you don't find no white people who's like, yeah, I was a Jim Crow supporter. Not this time, bro. Keep that same energy. We gonna remember y'all. We got it on video. We got y'all statements. Like, we got y'all social media. Keep that same energy. This is what y'all voted for. Y'all voted to do this to us and to yourselves. Right? You don't never hear nobody was like, yeah, you know, you hear a lot of people say, I marched with Dr. King. You don't never hear nobody says, I marched against Dr. King. Yeah, I burnt I was there burning a cross on lawns in Selma in 1965. Right? Nobody says that shit anymore. You'll never hear that. You'll never hear, I was in a lot of lynch mobs when I was. You hear a lot of people say, I was a activist. I was in the civil rights movement. Nobody was in the lynching movement. You don't never hear white people say that. They still around. They have on average live longer than us, right? So as many people as who are black, who were involved in the civil rights movement, whether they marched or, it's 5 times again. 13% of the population, it's 5 times more white people who are persecuting those people. You'll never hear from 5 times more. But you'll never hear nobody say, you know what? Back in 62, I was really fighting for white rights. I was down with segregation now, segregation forever. Where them people went? They voted for this. And the worst thing is, not only did they vote for this, right? We are under the delusion that there is something that, like, Democrats or progressives or we can do to change their minds. You can't, bruh. They were doing this in 1868 and 1968 and 2000s. They'll be doing it in 2028. There's nothing that we can do to change their minds. But we can't forget. That's the biggest thing that we have to focus on. Our memory, movement and memory, as Dr. Carr would say. Passing it down. I fear that a lot of us haven't passed down these lessons to us because we thought we won. Like, many of these fights that we are refighting right now, we thought we won them. So we didn't pass down the methods and the strategy of how we fight these battles. We got to remember, and how to identify the people who are going to sabotage this country. We gotta remember that shit. We gotta remember that shit, right? Because if not, you'll get bamboozled. You'll have people thinking that, oh, that was just a phase America went through, and not that it is part of a long running 4-century-old plan that we beat back. And when we let up, or we see, oh, they ain't never stopped. We just let up. And I think that is the charge that we have, right? Like, again, if you grow up believing that you gonna go to hell if you wear culottes or pants, then that will carry with you through till you grow, till you're an adult. Now it seems crazy, right? Hey, white supremacy is just as crazy as religion. It is a religion. It's illogical, right? It's something you follow that was passed down to you. And that's something you have to intentionally break away from. America never intentionally broke away. And the point is that my mama didn't change her rules. We just got older, and when we got grown enough, she raised us in the church. She raised us to read the Bible, and she raised us to think for ourselves. And when we got old enough, all of those lessons that she taught us to think for ourselves, when we came up with a solution that says, this pants thing is some bullshit, and I can't find it in the Bible, she was like, culottes, nigga. Wear whatever the fuck you want. You learned the lesson. Sometimes you learn the lesson by looking it up and listening to people who are smarter than you. Sometimes you got to fall off the ramp and break your shit. So in that sense, my sisters were smarter than me. I gotta admit. They just asked about the culottes. I had to break my shit to learn. So Carmelita, you right. And America are wrong. Y'all take it easy. Thank y'all for coming, and we'll see y'all in camp.